State of Michigan versus Tiffany Blaisdell, 21S00263.
Bedell for the people.
Andrew Banis with and on behalf of Ms. Blaisdell. Tiffany, can you state your name, please?
Again, Tiffany Ann Blaisdell.
Thank you. Hello, Ms. Blaisdell.
Hello, how are you, Your Honor?
I'm okay. All right.
We're here for a VOP, Your Honor. Ms. Blaisdell is going to admit to the allegations without a hearing, and she is enthusiastic about the release to residential treatment. Hopefully the bed will open up soon. I discussed that with her, so we are asking that you follow the recommendation.
Thank you. Ms. Blaisdell, you're entitled to have a hearing on this matter, at which time, if it is found that you violated the terms of your probation, you could be subjected to the original maximum penalty. And if you admit to it, the same penalties would apply. Your attorney is indicating that you want to waive your right to have that hearing and admit to the violations. The violations are that you failed to apply for an transitional housing. You failed a drug and alcohol screen as ordered, and you failed to report to probation for over 90 days.
That is true. I cannot tell a lie.
Okay, you want to admit to the violations?
I do admit to the violations, I do.
Please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. So you failed to go into transitional housing as I ordered you to do?
I did. I didn't want to give up the dog, and I didn't want to give up the house, which, well, I lost the house, but I still got the dog. But yes, that's true. And that was my stubbornness.
You failed a drug and alcohol screen as ordered also? Is that a yes?
Yes, that is. Yes.
Oh, and you failed to report to probation for over 90 days?
I did, yes.
All right. Thank you. I find that there's a knowing, willing admission to the violation. Are you satisfied, Mr. Bedell?
People are satisfied. Thank you, Judge.
Banis?
Yes, Your Honor. Defense is satisfied.
Anything further with respect to sentencing from you, Mr. Banis?
Nothing beyond what I already said. Thank you, Your Honor.
Bedell?
Nothing to add from me, Judge.
Ms. Blaisdell, is there anything you'd like to say today?
I'm just hoping, the discussion I had with Mr. Heaton, we can move forward, find a bed and do the 30-day inpatient and get all this nightmare behind me, because I want to get out of Washington County. I'm going to move back to Ahole and just get away from the trouble because it just keeps kind of following me everywhere I go. But I allow it to come in. But anyhow, I'm ready to just take responsibility. I'm going to woman up, not man up.
Got you. All right, Ms. Blaisdell, we've been doing this for a while.
Sure.
And I hope this helps. I really do. And if you plan to leave, I fully understand that as well. It's the sentence of this court that you serve 93 days in the Washington County Jail, credit for 45 days served. You may be released to residential treatment as soon as the bed is available. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Agreed. And may I ask Your Honor, is this once the 30 days are with the housing with the bed, is that the end of the probation, or will it just a continuation?
You're all done. You're all done.
Okay, so then fines. Now they seem to wrap that up because I'd like to get that paid. Hopefully by Monday I've been paid. So just to get everything done, so you don't have to see this miserable little face anymore. I would just love
One
to.
second, let me check on those fines.
Okay. Or you can have Heaton. Let me know.
Well, the fines and costs were minimal anyway. It was $175. So I do have to impose the $125. So I will waive all except for the state minimum of $125. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. You're wonderful. Best part of my day so far. All
right.
The only part of my day that's gonna be good so far.
All right. Have a good day, Ms. Blaisdell, and
Thank you.
take care of yourself.
Likewise, hon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge.
Court does call the cases of the people of the state of Michigan versus Jeffrey Wayne Bloom. Two cases, case 22 FB 1278 and 22 FB 1276. Counsel, state your appearance, please.
Amy Reiser on behalf of the people.
Good afternoon, Robert J. Cole on behalf of Mr. Bloom. Jeffrey, if you're in your cell, would you please acknowledge us?
Good morning, Your Honor. Afternoon, I guess.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Mr. Bloom, are you present? Deputy, can you verify that Mr. Bloom is in that cell?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Bloom is in that cell.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Judge, just for the record, I feel like I'm asking you to reconsider to allow Mr. Bloom to attend this hearing, Your Honor. Request, Your Honor, would be that the YouTube feed be cut for the reason being that the testimony today, we believe, will be watched by other future witnesses at a trial, and they will comport their testimony per the testimony that they watch on YouTube. So I'm asking the court to allow Mr. Bloom back into the courtroom.
As to, I guess, the first response, or the first, with regard to allowing Mr. Bloom, I think I made myself absolutely crystal clear at the last hearing, and that he had been removed. I granted your motion to reconsider. He then did other actions which caused this court to have great concern and made certain threats against officers, said he was going to do certain things when he was and I told him if he would be attending this hearing. Go ahead. And so,
As to the YouTube feed, Your Honor?
As to the YouTube feed, the court is on YouTube. It will be broadcast. There is not a reason. We have already been through this. There wasn't a reason to close the courtroom to do that. I've already ruled on these, Mr. Kilwall. So I understand you making the record, but I've already ruled on them. Same ruling.
Your Honor, if I could just inquire from the officers, I met with Mr. Bloom last night. He appeared to me very sick. His face was swollen, almost pumpkin-like on one side. I would just ask the officers if he's able to understand or participate in any way. Is he awake? That's him just yelling.
Yes.
That was Mr. Bloom?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Anything from the people before we begin?
No, Your Honor, we're ready to proceed.
All right. You may call your first witness or your next witness.
I do want to verify.
Ma'am, please come across the courtroom or come this way and come up to directions of the officers.
Your Honor, I forgot to ask, this should be sequestered. I know one officer here is for the other part. If he's not involved in this matter, I would ask that it be sequestered. What does he need to be here for that?
For the.
For there, no.
No, I understand that, but if he's not here for that, why can't I ask that he be sequestered?
Oh, you can ask and it's denied.
Thank you.
You may go ahead, Ms. Wright.
Ms. Blaisdell, my name is Amy Reiser. I'm the prosecutor. We've met a couple of times. I have a series of questions that I plan to ask you surrounding the events that occurred on August 21st, 2022. If there's anything that you don't understand, if I talk too fast or if the questions, then just ask me and I can repeat the question. If at any time you need to take a break, please let us know, or you need a drink of water, we can provide that. When I'm finished asking you questions, Mr. Kilowall will ask you questions too. Same rules apply. Can you tell me how old you are?
I have 46 years old.
And where were you living on August 21st of this year, 2022?
Was Wilson's Way, Harvard, 81.
And that's in Ypsilanti Township, Washington County.
Yes, Portland, Center.
And who were you staying there with?
Mr. Marshall Brown.
And who was Marshall Brown to you?
He is his friend, Remy.
And do you know the defendant in this case, Jeffrey Bloom?
I do.
And how do you know Mr. Bloom?
I met him through a mutual friend. I was in between homes and agreed to stay at his place with his mother to help take care of her. She had injured herself, but it could be a fall. She's an elevator, dresser, to help her when she had accidents, and that's typically what I do.
And when did you stay with Jeffrey and his mother?
When I started, that was like about a year. It's been a little over a year ago. I would say probably the beginning of October.
2021?
Correct.
And did you have contact from Mr. Bloom the days leading up to August 21st, 2022?
Correct, yes.
And what was the nature of that contact?
They do just come over and visit, you know, and try to kind of correct the things. Well, this was after, okay, let me think. Is this after the smacking and the assault with the, when he came to the apartment, that's what we're asking, right?
So I'm asking you, before the 21st, when did you and Marshall call the police eventually on August 21st, 2020?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So before you called the police, what had transpired with Mr. Bloom?
Prior to that date, okay, what had happened was he called and he wanted to apologize for a previous incident we had where I was going to have him prosecuted and just didn't, unfortunately, which I should have. So we wanted to come over, apologize, make things right, and get on Marshall's back. So, you know.
And so I'm going to slow you down. So you're talking super fast.
I know, I'm nervous, I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. So you had a previous incident with him. Had he assaulted you?
Right.
Okay. And were charges brought?
They were.
Okay. And did you appear in court?
I did. I was having a bad because I'm agoraphobic and I didn't want to leave, but they came to pick me up to testify. So it's.
And did Mr. Bloom call you from the jail when that
Yes.
assault case was pending?
Yes.
Okay. And what, if anything, did he say to you?
He just kept rambling on and on and on. I mean, it just, nothing makes sense. Nothing ever makes sense with him. And so I can't give you one point of what he was saying, other than, you know, I can do it, just calling you, I can, you know. And then I finally blocked the jail, so I couldn't hear it. Then he had people calling me outside of the jail, and trying to contact me to please have him, you know, call me on a different number, and, you know, it just constantly kept going on. Whereas it would just block everybody and him.
And so did you come to learn that he eventually got released from the jail?
They did, yes. The sheriff's department called me about this.
Okay. And did he contact you?
Yes.
In person or by phone?
Via phone.
Okay. And what, if anything, did he say?
He wanted to come over and talk and get things correct from what had happened with the slapping incident and to that nature and try to just be friends, you know, and offer me a place to live and that, which wasn't even when his family's kind of stuff comes from. It's fabricating his mind, perhaps.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that testimony. That's pure speculation on their part.
All right. I will sustain that objection.
So did you tell him where you were staying?
Yes, so you come over and you could talk with us, well, me, and I had my friends outside on the deck, just to kind of hear what he had to say, and he started to get belligerent and ugly, so we told him to leave.
Okay. And so that was to the residence you were staying at with Marshall, the Bosma's Way? Okay. And so he comes over, becomes belligerent.
We asked him to leave, that never came in.
Okay.
The next day, he shows up, the next morning there. I came in the house and stayed in the house. Marshall told his friend who was there, D, was his name, do not let him in. Well, he did. And from there, that's where everything just became a whole nightmare, the whole day. Because he had had alcohol, he had had money. So we, one individual, opened the door, Marshall's door, which I go right to. They just started having a big party.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am, hold for one
I'm
moment.
sorry.
Deputy, is the sound playing in the jail? If you can acknowledge that for the court, please. Oh, that's muted.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I couldn't hear you.
I cannot hear the court proceedings, Your Honor. I wish for a breakout room with my attorney before this proceeding ever started. They are violating my constitutional rights, showing me in a prejudice light, in a suicide gown, which I had no reason to be in. They have made me sick in a room with an abscessed tooth. This is a bunch of shit. You you threatened the witness saying if she didn't come, that she wouldn't be released from jail until she testified. You violated her Fourth Amendment rights. You can be sued. You can be disbarred. This is your fourth time doing such things. I cannot hear the proceedings. I have asked for a breakout room with my attorney. You are bamboozling. You are corrupt. Intent 750.122.
Jeffrey, stop. Just stop. You made your point. Stop.
750.55.505, another case law. You're intimidating a witness.
Deputy, can
Along
he
with the
be,
Sheriff's Department.
can
You're
our proceeding be
intimidating a
heard
witness.
in the room that Mr. Bloom is in?
I cannot hear the
I'm sorry,
proceedings.
I couldn't hear you, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Okay, can it, there is audio in that room that it can be heard if he were quiet.
I cannot
Okay,
hear.
thank you, sir.
I cannot hear
Thank
the
you.
proceedings. That's a lie. I cannot hear it. I have heard nothing. The guy next door was yelling and screaming. I cannot hear.
Thank you.
Judge, can he be moved to a room, maybe like a interview room where he could be,
Where he could be what?
where he could sit with a tablet? I mean, if,
I think he has placed himself in a circumstance where he can't sit with the tablet. That's part of the problem. Having to do with his threats and his activities in terms of his activities toward officers. Thank you. Ms. Reiser, you may continue. The court, so the record is clear, the court is assured that the defendant can hear. So you may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Blaisdell, do you recognize the individual on the Zoom screen?
Oh, I certainly do.
And who is that?
That is Jeffrey.
Thank you. The record could reflect she's identified.
She's identified the defendant. The record shall so reflect without objection.
The second time when Mr. Bloom came back, did, you said that someone let him in the residence?
Correct.
And what was Mr. Bloom's demeanor?
Where he seemed fine at the time, he had a bottle of vodka, crack cocaine, and I believe he was on that seemed to be one of the.
Judge, again, she's not a doctor. She can't.
If you're arguing a lack of foundation, I'll sustain the objection if you.
Ms. Blaisdell, you said did you see the bottle of
Yes.
alcohol that he had? And
Yes.
what kind was it?
It was just something cheap, like Mohawk or Mohawk, I believe it was. I mean,
I don't mean to interrupt. My client is calling. He says he's not hearing anything. Can we just say, can affirm, Judge, he's hearing this? Please.
I have just done that when the last time that he tried to say that he couldn't hear. I did it in the last proceeding when all of a sudden he said he couldn't hear. This is part of the game that he plays, and I'm not buying it. And I checked with the deputy there. He could hear.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
And you said cocaine. Did you visibly see the cocaine?
crack cocaine, yes,
Okay.
they were smoking it at the kitchen table.
Mr. Bloom was.
Mr. Bloom and his friend as well. Not his friend, but Marshall's friend. Yes.
And you said that you believe that he was on meth. Did you see
Well,
meth or what made you?
I know it's hearsay, but he's.
Again, I object. You prosecutors.
I'm going to sustain the objection unless there's some foundation for.
Did you actually see methamphetamine with the cocaine? or-
I did not.
Okay. Did Jeffrey say anything about methamphetamine?
Yes.
What did the defendant say to
He
you?
sells it and uses it.
Okay. Did he say anything to you that night about methamphetamine?
Not that particular night, no.
So he is at the table in this apartment with Marshall's friend?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And what were you doing?
I was sitting on the couch, but we were in between on the couch and then outside barbecue. Barbecuing chicken, cooking greens, corn on the cob, things like that. So it was barbecue.
And who all was there to kind of start with it?
Start with it, it was myself, it was Marshall, it was Lee, and it was also Jeff.
The defendant?
Correct.
Okay. And at some point, did Lee leave?
He left later on and he, yes.
And how was the defendant's demeanor?
Well, I will tell you this, I'll kind of back up for a second. He was starting to follow me around a little too much, you know, the more he drank. So I went to bed in Marshall's room, I went to take a nap. Well, so, but, I honestly progressively got worse because when I woke back up, it was 10 times more intense. So demeanor had changed. And
And when you say Mr. Bloom was following you around, what do you mean?
just touchy-feely, or, you know, I'm in love with you, and come talk to me, come sit next to me, this kind of stuff.
And what, if anything, did you say?
I mean, a lot of things that I probably should repeat, but, you know, just get the fuck away from me. You're not my boyfriend. I mean, I didn't want any part of it, and everybody's starting to pick up on that, you know, but because.
Had you ever had a romantic relationship with Mr.
Heaven, no.
And so how many times did you tell him to get away from you?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I mean, at least 15 sometimes. And then he'd get sidetracked on something else, so it'd be okay. Or they'd pull it outside, you know, I'm not sure, or they come on, hey, you know, let's tip the neckerchief, go lay down for a while, which I wanted to do. Or I was gonna go to Lee's house, who lives in the same complex, you know, in the apartments, to get away from this. And
So you eventually went into the back bedroom and laid down by yourself?
correct, yes.
And how, do you know how long you were back there?
Roughly maybe an hour and a half, well,
And then, did anyone come in the bedroom while you were?
they made sure that he stayed off. The only person who would come in ever been Marshall or my fiance.
And so what happened when you came out from the bedroom?
When I came out, I was just pretty much buzzed, a little bit here and there.
Buzz,
Right.
like drunk?
Drunk, yes, correct, just, you know, and I got a plate, chicken, some greens, have more than half of that, and then leave it. At this time, then I laid on the couch instead of going back to Marshall's bedroom. And, that's where things, you know, Lee had then left. Marshall at that point had went to bed in his bedroom, and he's sitting there by himself. He and Jeff was alone drinking in the living room as I'm sleeping. And they just started, you know, looking up and screaming, yelling, poking the back, poking in the face, and just, and it's, you know, I'm coming to, I'm discombobulated. I go, what the hell is going on right now? And then it just transpired, got away from that.
Okay, so tell us what happened.
What happened? He started accusing me. He was treating like I'm his wife, or like, you know, woman or something like that. I heard you doing this. You had sex with my best friend. I got his best friend one time was working at his mom's car. You know, it's just all these things, these accusations. And I go, why? Even if I didn't sleep with Tom, Dick, and Harry, why is it your business that this did not stop? And then again, he would not leave me alone. But he did close my face a couple times. And so then I moved to the next couch. Then he's over there, and he's starting to get nasty, starting to get more a little forceful, you know, sex, he says, quote unquote. My dick hasn't been this hard since I was 20 years old. You know, if you don't, I'm going to take it, you know, I'm going to take it from, kept trying to pull my pants down, fighting, and this and that, putting his hands down there. And then
He was putting his hands down your pants?
Correct.
Okay.
Right, yeah, don't start your hands down.
Okay.
And then
And what are you saying, if anything?
just get the fuck off, get away, stop. And then he put his hands on everything. Excuse the term, what he was saying. You smell like a nigger cum. You smell like a nigger cum. And I said, what the heck? And this is coming through. And all of a sudden, he started punching me, beating me in my face, and all over the place on top of my head. And it just, all of the what is all this coming to? And then Marshall, I kept screaming, Marshall, finally came out. Marshall can't really stop it because, you know, he was injured from being hit a bit, but he also had some type of an aneurysm where he couldn't really do much and walk well, trying to get him stop. This, and
Are
then
you laying on the couch at this point?
trying to move around, yeah. Yes, you know, fall up in the blanket and ripped off, but at this point, I have a face like this, because every time I try to be okay, I know there's something up there. I mean, I've never been hit so hard, like, it hit me so hard in the side of the temple, but it actually lost sight for about, I'd say maybe at least 45 seconds to a minute. I couldn't see anything, and it wouldn't stop. I mean, he bit me in the face like some kind of barbaric animal, and I still have permanent scar there for the rest of my life.
And what do you remember happening after that?
What we was doing, Marshall was just chasing Marshall around, make sure Marshall doesn't call the police. Followed him everywhere, followed him in the bathroom. I believe it into his bedroom. And he turned into an animal, you know. He was starting to kill me. He knows where my ex-husband, my son live, says they're killing my mom, my dog, you know, and he said, I'm gonna take you to Detroit, tie you to pole, have every motherfucker rape you. And then I put you in a regular car and catch it on fire and you're gonna die. He goes, you're gonna die. I want you to accept that. He goes, you know, you better get right with Jesus because you are going to die tonight.
How did that make you feel?
I was terrified. What am I gonna do? Because he had a gun, okay? And had I known it was a BB gun, maybe I could have been a little more forceful, you know, in defense for myself. But I thought that was we all did.
And so did you see something that you believed was a gun?
No, so he had it in the back of his pants and he ran first showed up.
And what was he doing with it, or did he say something?
He was just trying to act hard, pretty much. When I say hard, you know, but yeah, that's just an intimidation factor, if you will. You know, but when he first got there, he was branching it out and showing it, you know, to make sure that it was sticking right off the back of his knee.
I'm going to show you what's been admitted as Exhibit 9 and after you recognize this.
Yes, you may.
That's exactly it, yes. Because I'm not a gun guru, I don't know the difference between a BB gun and a real gun.
You thought it was a real gun?
Absolutely.
Did the defendant say anything to you with respect to the gun about leaving the residence? I mean, did you feel like you could leave the residence?
No, no. I couldn't get closer, I couldn't get up. Marshall couldn't even get me.
Try to get the defendant to leave.
He wasn't going anywhere.
Okay. Did you feel like you could leave?
No.
And why not?
He wouldn't let me leave.
Okay.
He kept pulling me down, you know. He showed me the choke, the kill choke, you know, when performing on me. And that's when I flipped over onto the glass table to get it off because I can bring it off. Everything. I couldn't get up. So I got up. I got hit right back down. I had so many knots in my head too, you know, patches I had to lay in the house. I mean, it's sad.
And so can you explain for Judge Simpson, you just said something and I don't want to get the word wrong. The kill choke or was it?
It's where you choke somebody and you squeeze their windpipe till it snaps and yeah, you can't breathe.
And so did he describe that?
He performed that. He did it.
And what was he saying?
He's just doing it. He was choking and I'm trying to fight him off because it's we were fighting at that point. He was trying to put his penis in my record. And that's when I sweating back. He's got this and I pushed it to the last table. And that's when Marshall came on again. Thank God, just things to calm down. He says, I fell. So, I mean, I know I'm going fast and I apologize. I just want to get this over with. I want him to wrap it. And I'm sorry to say that.
So you said that he was trying to put his penis in your anus.
Mhm.
And how did you know he was trying to do that?
I told him because he told me so.
What did he say?
He said, I'm gonna put my dick in your ass. And I said, you can't. I said, I've had too many surgeries, don't hurt me there. You know, if you're gonna do it, and you know, I'm fine with his rape request because what else am I gonna do? They're just gonna keep beating on me, and where the good ones, none of us do. You know, he's trying to stab me with a brass giraffe that Marshall had, trying to stab me in the face with that, trying to bite my nose off. I mean, did whatever I had to do to survive.
And so when you said when he was trying to put, where were your pants? Where were your pants?
On me.
Okay, still on you. And you said something about flipping over on the table trying to get away from him?
Yeah, because they were starting that kill choke. And that's the only way I could get him out because it's just like you're physically just paralyzed. You can't do anything. The best I could do was just serve myself, which made that loud crash. And therefore Marshall came out. And he just gave Marshall that area up. And he said, you better not come out. He said, you better not say shit. And he said, he looks at Marshall and says, she just fell. She's all right. Well, I understand wasn't the case.
And what happened next?
And then he proceeded to get on top of that, on the top of that, got my pants down, and he wasn't erect. And so we yeah, deeper vocal on him.
So he put his in your mouth? Did he say anything?
It's always But it's still getting hit in the head. It's a good bit up. And my soul felt so bad. Oh, yeah, my soul was outside the patio.
Marcia was on the patio at this time?
Yeah. It's got a little bit. But it could be out there long, God forbid, but we'll see. And then that's when he got in trouble with and put his penis inside my vagina. And where the house. Yes. And then he my dance down. It was commercial to the point where, as you have an IUD, you know what that is. Typically, you'll stop having periods. After what he had done to me, it was the first time I started to bleed for a few days in probably 6 years. It was that first one.
And what was he doing with his hands while he was having?
They were pretty much like, oh shit, excuse my language. They're pretty much like look by my face. So he's able to hit or do whatever. Oh, that's so my hair was pulled back like that. Just the hair still we can sit. My hair still around.
Into what part of the body?
Nothing.
What happened? Did this finally end, or what happened next?
It finally ended when he finished. And then from there, he had my clothes up and he took me inside the couch in front of him and held me. But there were spots on this because my dog was having it. And I don't want to put this because I'm such an animal lover. There's some people that do, but he took my dog, picked her up, and she's a 45-pound Australian Shepherd, and he threw her at me.
The dog?
My dog, and that one, yeah. And my dog was getting so nervous. My dog was already attached. But when my dog was so fearful of a man like that, I just knew. But to throw my dog on top of me.
Did he make any threats towards your dog?
Yeah, he wanted to cut her paws off. He was going to kill her. And I was, I would be tied down and watch the whole thing take place. It's just the sickest spot, the sickest thing you could ever think and say. But the whole night, well, what was left of it? He just clung right into it, let me move, let me get out, let me put the big clothes on. I had my top, my top on, to just the pants and my underwear.
And how is it that, did you feel like you could leave the apartment then?
Not at all. No.
Why not?
I couldn't even get up. I couldn't get up. Now, there was nothing. Even if I had to go to the bathroom, right there, you would be right there. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't no access to my phone. Couldn't find my phone.
How did Jeffrey eventually leave the apartment?
Once he had slept it off, locked on me, and he locked on the couch next behind me. When he came to woke up and some of Marshall's friends, because the friends were upstairs, they called him Scrappy, he'd come down, he'd come over, he started realizing all, friends are coming, but none of us are saying anything. My face told a million words, but they all thought everything was okay because the way he was laying behind me on the couch. And I would say things, but he started feeling uncomfortable, he sobered up and realized. Where I quote his words were, I'm sorry for hurting you, I know your friends are gonna get me. He goes, but please, please forgive me. And I told him, I said, you need to leave, you need to go. And then he kind of asked me to take pictures of me before he left and the stuff, and I had myself over the blanket. And I had Marshall take him in my car and take him to wherever he went, to some old people tower or something like that. And that's when it was gone. That was that evening, we decided to call the police because we didn't want to do it first. It was humiliating, too much, and we did take advice from friends. And reported what happened. Absolutely.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibits 1 through 9 and ask if, or 1 through 8, I'm sorry, and ask if you recognize these photographs and tell the court what they are photographs of. Did the police take pictures of you that night when they came?
This one is where he had printed right between the nose and the mouth. All my lips, like he cut it in my lip. The 2 is where he bit me in the face, and I see so the sharpness absolutely punching me in the face. And my ear, it wasn't part of my face, it was purple. That is the exhibit 4 is the temple shot where he hit me, and I lost sight, like I said about. About 60 seconds, 45 seconds to a minute. So the 5, which is bruises from Megan.
And what part of your body is fine?
The front side of the arm,
Okay.
upper left arm. Staying here, more bruises in the arms, once you grab it and holding down. Sorry, I have some problems. 7, there's more little bruise.
And what part of your body is 7?
It is on my right arm. Looks like about right here. This is, I believe, left arm, more bruises and notches, finger grab marks.
In Exhibit A. In those injuries, you sustained from the assault by the defendant in this case.
Yes, that's correct.
You know, move for the admission of exhibits 1 through 3.
Why do you?
Blaisdell, you're claiming that all those injuries occurred that night, correct?
That is correct.
And what time did these injuries about occur?
Roughly, I'd say 3 hours in the morning. I can't give you an exact time. I wasn't worried about the time. But
On the 21st?
The date?
Yes.
The day it occurred.
I'm sorry?
The day he showed up. Yes, the next day. I can't give you the exact dates, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any of these injuries beforehand?
I did
Let me
not.
just hold on, let me finish. What I'm saying is, had you been in any physical altercations with anybody several days before, I'm just saying, let me finish. Before the, within August 18th?
No.
Okay.
None whatsoever. I don't leave my home.
Okay, and who took those pictures?
The sheriff's department.
Now, you or Marshall didn't call the police until 18 hours later. The first time the police arrived at 11 o'clock that night on the 21st.
That's correct.
When were those pictures taken?
That evening.
After they arrived after 11 o'clock on the 21st?
Mhm.
Okay,
Jed, yes. You have to make
Yes,
sure.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
I'm
no, it's
sorry.
okay.
Yes.
You're good.
so you're saying you incurred these injuries a lot earlier, correct?
I incurred these injuries to be a jet blue 15 hours prior.
Okay.
That's what you're asking, correct? Yes.
And were these injuries apparent when they happened? I mean,
Is that a rhetorical question?
no, what I'm asking you is why you waited 15 or 18 hours to call the police and then show them your
Because
injuries?
it was humiliating to have something like that happen. Okay? If you've never been raped, if you don't understand that, you would get.
I'm just asking you about these pictures. So these pictures are approximately 18 hours old from showing these injuries.
Yes, and they get worse.
And
But wait another 18 hours, and look even earlier.
and you're claiming that Jeff caused all these injuries.
Just caused all these
The
injuries.
bite marks,
The bite marks.
okay, and what injuries did you have on your face?
Isn't it clear? Bruises.
No, I'm asking
red lip,
you.
Bruises, bite marks.
Where did you have, excuse me, ma'am, please just slow down. What part of your face did you have the bruises?
Every part of my face.
Every part.
This side, the temple, the chin, the lip, the bite mark. You've seen these pictures,
I
correct?
know, and those pictures accurately reflect what you're claiming is the injuries he caused you.
Correct.
All right, thank you, I have no further questions.
Any objection to the admission?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibits 1 through 8 are admitted. Thank you. No, just give them to my bailiffs if they're coming to get those. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Rice.
I don't have any other questions for the witness at this time.
All right.
Before Mr. Kilwald begins his cross-exam, I will indicate that I believe the witness's testimony would support an additional count of criminal sexual conduct at the first degree for the oral penetration during the course of a felony. So at the conclusion, I would be moving to add a count 8 of CSE 1 during the commission of the felony. She just testified to 2 penetrations.
Understood. Cross-examination.
Ms. Blaisdell, when did you move into Bolson's way?
I would be beginning of August.
October 1st?
August.
Oh, I'm sorry, August. Sorry about that. August 1st. Where did you previously live?
I lived in, like a Lakeview, Denver.
Was that in a mobile home?
Correct.
Okay. And at times, didn't Jeffrey live there with you?
Never lived
You never lived there?
there. Never lived there. No milk in there, no windows, no nothing.
Now,
When he
you-
was homeless, I got out of jail, smacked me through it. He never lived there.
Ma'am, you answer the question.
Okay. He did not.
Now, you're claiming that you and Jeff were just friends, correct?
We were just home.
Pardon me? And previously to this, have you and Jeff had sexual relations?
We did not.
You never had sexual
We
relations
did
with
not.
Jeff? Isn't it true that you're in 14 Visas report on numerous cases of domestic violence involving you and Jeff?
Domestic violence.
Yeah,
No,
against you by Jeff, because you were partners.
we were never, absolutely not. There's never been a domestic violence.
In 14B, you've never had domestic violence between you and Jeffrey?
No, no.
Any other court in this
Go to
country?
the court that was where everything happened, it was actually here at this court, where it was when he slapped me. Previously.
And
Other
it's,
than that, it's not a domestic violence, that would have been a, what do you call it, assault and battery, not a domestic violence.
okay,
He
so,
did not live with me, we were not partners,
and you were
to make
never,
it clear.
you never lived in roommates?
No, only with his mother, but that wasn't really roommates, that was I was a caretaker to his mother.
And you're sure about that mobile home you never lived with?
He never lived, there was no mail there, there was no clothes there,
Okay,
there was a bag.
fine, fair enough.
Okay,
On August 4th, you couldn't attend the hearing here. We had a hearing scheduled for October 4th. And a deputy Mace went to your home. You showed him a document. What was that document that you showed him that you couldn't attend court?
August 4th.
No, October 4th.
October 4th, I had COVID, I tested positive for COVID,
And is
and that was
that,
from the hospital.
had you just been released from the hospital?
Mhm.
And
He
is
said
that,
yes.
Yes, yes, I'm
and
sorry,
is
yes,
that the document you showed Officer Mace?
yes.
And what was that?
Actually, Marshall is the one that showed, detective, because I was on the couch, just sitting. So I had the documents.
And you have a copy of that?
Yes,
Would you provide that?
I don't have it with me,
No.
but then
Hold
I
on.
do.
Hold on, let me just finish. Would you, at a later date, provide us a copy of that release?
Most certainly.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna object, I'm not sure why we need that.
Well, because it was made part of the testimony prior, Your Honor, when the officer said he testified at the door, she showed him a release document and
Well, that's
everything.
because you challenged, Mr. Killen, what does that have to do with anything in this case?
Because it's my allegation, Your Honor, that it was not from COVID, that it was that she was in the hospital from a previous assault matter with someone else. So I'm asking to see that document.
On October 4th,
Yes.
this sexual assault occurred
I
on
didn't say.
August 21st. So whether she was assaulted by someone in October is not relevant.
It is, Your Honor, when she's claiming that she had COVID. Now, I'm not.
But why, but Mr., to these events that she's testified to, why is that relevant?
Judge, it goes to her credibility. She couldn't have come here to court that day. She said it was because COVID. All I'm asking for is to see the release document that says that she had COVID. Why is that?
Well, I'm trying to figure out why that's relevant to anything in
It
this
goes
case.
to her credibility, Your Honor. That's what she
That
told-
she had COVID?
No, that she showed a document that stated she had COVID. She showed it to the officers. This court heard the testimony from Officer Mace, who said she couldn't come that day. I'm just asking.
Because she couldn't, the issue in that was she couldn't be here that day because she had COVID.
Correct.
The testimony of the officer was that when he got there, they showed him a document that indicated she had COVID.
Correct. You know, I'm
So what does that have to do with anything else in this case other than why she wasn't there that day?
It goes to her credibility, Your Honor.
Credibility of what?
Whether that was document.
The deputy's a liar too.
I didn't say the deputy.
The deputy said he saw the document and it said positive
All
COVID.
I'm asking for is a confirmation of that.
Confirmation of which part?
The the document that shows she was released from the hospital for COVID and that she couldn't be here that day. We believe otherwise, that she was in the
Okay,
hospital
so
for
let's
something
say,
else.
Mr. Killawald, that she could have been there this day, that the deputy got up, told me something, I'm completely fooled, and she's here now. What does that have to do with anything?
Okay, I guess I'm not making my point. The officer represented that she represented a document that says it was a hospital release for COVID.
Correct.
COVID. All I'm asking is for verification of that, Your Honor. It goes to her credibility.
I'm not clear I understand what. Because, Mr. Killawald, both could be true. I mean, if you're saying that she was in the hospital for some other reason, there were plenty of people that were in the hospital for other reasons and also had COVID. So I don't know what the COVID thing has to do with it. That's what the problem is. If your issue is, or your point is that she was in the hospital because of something else, then I'd suggest you get right to it and just ask her.
Were you in the hospital for COVID?
I was in the hospital for COVID,
And it was not for,
and I was quarantined for 10 days.
and it
That's
was,
why I did not show, to make this quite clear.
and it was not for any other type of physical assault.
No.
Well, I'm gonna object, even if she was assaulted in October.
Okay,
It's not relevant.
But I just need to get past this. It isn't relevant. I agree. But if he's saying that she's in the hospital for something else, both can be true. It doesn't mean that she lied about having COVID. I mean, let's move on. We're dealing with events in August. So
Okay, have you ever been convicted of a crime of dishonesty?
Perjury,
You tell me.
you will, please make yourself a little more clear.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime for dishonesty, shoplifting, stealing?
No, I've never been charged for crime of shoplifting or anything like that. My crimes have just been alcohol related in terms of right now, just the assault and battery, and that was it.
Okay.
No stealing, no city clears. I work for a living.
Okay, you were here on September 13th, correct? When Marshall testified,
Yes, I was.
and unfortunately, you didn't get to testify, but you were out in the hallway.
Correct.
Did you hear any of that testimony?
I heard nothing. I
Did
can
you
hear minimal, but I can hear screaming from Jeffrey.
Did you ever discuss Marshall's testimony?
We're not allowed to.
Pardon me?
No, we're not allowed to. And we don't.
Are you still living in Bolson's Way?
Yes, but the is because I'm going into treatment for the next 3 days, so I'll be not at it.
You're going into treatment for what?
Just because that's court ordered to get off of probation.
Are you an alcoholic?
So yeah,
You drink every day?
well, currently not right now. No, it doesn't have to be every day. It's not every day.
Okay. Do you do drugs?
I do not do drugs. I do not smoke marijuana. I do not do that. No, nothing.
You don't do crack?
I'm more than happy to do drug test and go back 6 months.
How long have you been in jail now?
I just said the 10 days that I was ordered from a violation of probation.
10 days before you went into jail, did you do any drugs that day?
No.
What is your drink of choice?
It's typically either Coors Light or sometimes I'll drink vodka.
Is it 5 p.m. vodka?
I
I'm sorry, 5 o'clock vodka.
to Mohawk or, Arrow.
And do you have any outstanding warrants?
Well, no, I do not. They're all cleared up. And so this morning,
Did you make any deals with the prosecutor for your testimony today?
I most certainly did not.
Okay. When you moved into Bolson's Way, did you have your own bedroom?
No.
Where did you sleep at?
On the couch.
Okay. When you were living there, did you see drugs?
No.
Did you see crack pipes, drug paraphernalia?
No, I did not. That's more of a drink house. Cocktails, things like that.
Did you see Narcan, nasal spray?
The sniffy stuff?
Yeah,
No,
Narcan.
no, I did not.
At any time from August 18th through the 21st, did anybody OD in that apartment?
No. OD. And
Well, I
OD
mean,
what?
pass out from heroin.
No, absolutely not.
I shouldn't say pass out, overdose on heroin.
Absolutely not.
Where Jeff actually gave the person, Narcan nasal spray.
Jeff, no, there's no, Jeff and heroin, you'd be on with the OD over heroin, but absolutely not, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, now you testified that Jeff was sending you letters, correct? And that you were nothing but buddies, correct? And let me get this straight, on August 18th, he called you that night, correct?
Correct, yes.
And then he had just been released from jail, correct?
Mhm.
And I know you just testified that he wanted to come over and apologize, but
Yes.
from the tone of your voice and the problems he's given you, why did you give him Marshall's address?
Because I just want to hear what he wanted to say, you know, I have a big heart, I don't hold grudges. If you want, you know, I'm sorry, yeah, I mean, I can get past things, okay? It doesn't always have to be, you know, this, that, and the other. I mean, most people do, I'm not the typical person. Let's hear what you got to say.
Okay, so Jeff came over then, correct?
Correct.
He apologized to
He
you?
did,
Okay. And how long did he stay for?
he didn't stay, but maybe about an hour, and he stayed specifically on deck. We let him come in, and then he started drinking a little more, and he started getting a little nastier, and so we asked him to leave.
He left.
And he-
Okay. On August 19th, did he return?
Yes, but the next day,
Yeah, what, do you remember what time he returned?
I honestly don't. It was daylight, obviously, so, I really can't give you time because
Okay. And once he returned, did he stay there for the next 2 days?
the next 2 days, heaven no,
He didn't?
it was just that night. That was everything took
So he
place.
calls on the 18th, he stays for an hour, he leaves, comes back the next day on the 19th, well, about 11, 12, 1. And then how long does he stay on the 19th?
You know, I'm making sure we have a date for it, I can't pinpoint it, but when he came the next day, that was it, that was when everything took place. From the sexual assault, to the choking, to the beating, to, you know, okay, that's what I'm telling you. I can't answer anything specific that you're gonna ask me because that's all I know, on how these dates, and events took place.
Ma'am, hold on, let me just explain, I'm not trying to trick you. The allegations for sexual assault, you're saying happened on the 21st.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, the dates, I can't get on to you specifically. I don't have
All I'm asking you is he came back on the 19th at about 11 a.m. How long did he stay that day?
that must.
You don't think he stayed there for several days?
He was not there for several days. He was there 3 days. Day 1, so he came in and apologized. Day 2 was when he came in with liquor and the crack cocaine, and then all through that whole night, that next day, at 4 or 5 in the morning, all sexual assault and everything took place. Third day, is he showed up again, and that's when he was tased, trying to get back into the house and get to me, which I locked myself in the house and watched things take place from there. Those are the 3 days he was there. Not
Okay,
protected,
so again, I'm not trying to beat this to death. He shows up on the 19th at 11, and you say he stays into the morning of the 20th? Is that fair
I'm
enough?
gonna object to the line of questioning. The witness has said multiple times she doesn't know the specific
Well,
date.
she's making allegations that it doesn't make any sense what she's saying. Judge,
What doesn't make any sense? It didn't make sense to me what she said.
He shows up on the 19th. All I'm asking is how long did he stay for on the 19th? You said he stayed into the following morning. Is that wrong or am I?
Well, hold on a second. Just don't answer yet. You're referring to dates, specific dates.
Yeah,
She is referencing things from when the assault occurred,
right.
but she's telling you she can't make out the date. So your question needs to be phrased certainly differently if you're asking her about a specific time frame. But it seems clear to me this witness has answered what happened using when the sexual assault occurred as a reference.
Did the sexual assault occur on the 21st?
I don't remember the names. I can give you the date in order, but you know, I can't give you the date.
Wait,
If it was the 20th, it was the 21st, because you come one day, 20th, that whole time frame, you're gonna put it to after midnight, may still be the 20th, to me, okay, but it's 21st to you. I get it. Again, I'm just giving
Fair
you
enough, fair enough.
each day of what happened.
While Jeffrey was there, were other people drinking and smoking and doing drugs?
People were drinking, people were smoking, whatever else you brought up. Yes, that was happening.
Okay, now, and you're telling this court, you admitted you're an alcoholic, and are you telling me those days you had nothing to drink?
I did not, I never said I did not have anything to drink. When did I say that?
What were you drinking?
I believe it was black and beer.
Do you feel like you were intoxicated during that time?
No, because I went to sleep and took a hard nap at 8. I was not intoxicated, I was tired, and I was tired of being chased around by a crazy man.
And did you do any drugs that day?
No, I did not. I would be more than happy to say it again and again. On God, on my son.
Okay, when do you believe that Jeff was high on drugs and alcohol?
My son facetious, but he always is. That is every
No,
day.
I'm talking about those specific days, ma'am. I don't want you-
Because a personality change is when you can see it. And it's not anybody.
Did you see him drinking and doing drugs?
Absolutely.
What drugs was he doing?
Crack. They were at the kitchen table. He had a big bottle of vodka, and the crack came out, and he's showing out lots of money to entice more people to get into his little game, so that he could hang out and stay. That was his plan.
Were you doing alcohol too?
What, I just told you that. I was drinking.
Now, when the police came to talk to you, you initially told the police that Jeff didn't rape you.
Right.
Okay. How much time lapsed between you then telling the police that Jeff did rape you?
15, 20 minutes. And that's because I was embarrassed, humiliated. I didn't want to go through the whole rape kit thing. It was too much. My friend actually, Marshall, told them the truth and told them that there was more that I needed to tell them, and I did. While they were still there, taking the same report.
Okay, so you're saying that he didn't rape me. 15 minutes later, he said.
I didn't say, I never just gonna take, this is all, I told everything about the beatings, the hitting, the choking, everything else. He was held captive. I left out the rape part. I didn't say, but he didn't rape me. No. Then my friend said, had told Debbie Phillips that you have to talk to her again because he did rape her and she's too embarrassed to admit it, to say anything.
Did you finally tell him?
I did. And they took my clothes for his semen, and they also took the blanket that he used when he was on top of me.
And the police asked you to do a sane rape kit, correct?
They did.
And you refused. Why?
Because I didn't want to go. Let me explain it. I am agoraphobic. I do not like leaving my home, no matter what the situation. It was this day. That's why they took the pants. They can check. It's right there for the semen test and everything.
I understand, but
Okay.
and again, this is no reflection on you, but is the reason why you didn't want the same kids because you had sex with someone else?
Heavens, no. That makes no sense. And I did not explain to you that I'm agoraphobic. I didn't want to go to the hospital. You don't know what agoraphobic is. If somebody does not like to leave their home, be around.
Now, you testified you were sleeping, correct? And you got up after a while, and then you came onto the couch.
Nope, I had chicken, had some greens, put on the couch, ate, and then laid back down and fell asleep on the couch. Yes.
Okay, and you're saying at this time Jeff woke you up,
Yes, he certainly did.
and this is the time when you testified that all these things happened to you?
It started there. It just immediately started like that. It started with poking and speaking, screaming at me and yelling and making accusations of sleeping with his best friend and all this stuff. And I'm just cussing back on him. But you're not my man. You're nobody to me. And if I want to sleep again, I'm good with Tom, Dick, and Harry, I will. But I'd only met the man once. But this, again, this is the kind of stuff that goes to his head. I know you're not going to want to hear that, but that's true. You only know what you're hearing.
And so you're saying it wasn't, and again, no disrespect, you're saying it wasn't consensual sex.
It was absolutely not consensual. Really? Consensual sex?
I just
Really?
asked you, ma'am, I just asked you.
Yeah.
And who was present? And again, I know this is, I understand this is very, very delicate, but who was present when you were being raped?
Marshall,
Just Marshall.
just Marshall.
And where was Marshall at?
Marshall was coming into the kitchen when he seen it. And he's seen it firsthand, he's seen it all.
Okay,
And I was embarrassed crying. And he already knew, he could see, look in my face and the crying.
ma'am, let me finish. Did Marshall try to intervene and stop?
He doesn't have the strength, or he's 63 years old, okay? He had a bad leg, and he had a blood clots in his urinary.
Ma'am, in
So he
the
couldn't
police,
do
in the
anything.
police report, you told the police that Jeffrey manhandled him when he,
See, I was asleep, I don't know about that.
no, ma'am, this is ma'am, this is the police report when they're talking to you. And in the initial police report, you said Jeff manhandled him, threw him down, caused his injury to his penis. And yet on the supplemental report, you then told the police that you were sleeping and that let me finish, that you never saw the tussle between Marshall and Jeffrey.
That is correct. No, I will correct that statement. No, I did not see the tussle. That was while I was
Okay,
asleep.
so when you told the police that you saw everything, you were lying to them?
So, no, Marshall saw everything that was happening to me.
No, that's not what,
Listen, you see, I just told you. It was super. You see it, did I hear it? Yes, no. Again, I came out with the truth because I realized, oh my God, he's saying, you know, what he's saying, I'm saying, we're protecting ourselves because we both know we were injured and hurt. Okay?
okay, so the police report where it says that you saw the tussle between Marshall, that.
You are correct.
I didn't even answer the
I
question.
already know what you're gonna ask.
That you didn't see it, but you just made it up to the police when you told the police that.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
it wasn't made up, it did happen, but it was just me protecting him and him protecting me.
And during this, and again, at any time did Marshall try and call the police while he's seeing this rape going on, or try and get a neighbor or anything?
He couldn't find his phone. He could not find his phone. It was on Do Not Disturb.
Where?
It was on Do Not Disturb,
Oh, okay.
so he couldn't find his phone, or of course he would have. And that's again where Jeff was following Marshall all around anywhere he went into the apartment. He never did that.
And is it fair to say that you were screaming? And again, this is
Absolutely, yes.
delicate.
Yes, yes.
Were you screaming during this?
Well, I certainly wasn't giggling, but yes, I was screaming very loud enough so Marshall woke up and came out.
Okay, and my point being, ma'am, is you're in an apartment complex, and again, I'm not saying that the walls are paper thin, but nobody heard you screaming as far as you know? Nobody came?
No one that got here showed up now.
And it's your testimony that Jeff would not let you leave.
Correct.
Isn't it true during that day or two, you would leave occasionally with somebody else and go to the store and get something?
No,
You never left the apartment?
I did not. No, I did not leave the apartment.
Did you?
I don't leave the apartment.
Do you have a vehicle?
My boyfriend, my fiance, has a car. It's had parked, expired. No,
And you didn't have a vehicle?
I don't own a
Let me
vehicle.
finish. You didn't have a vehicle at Bolson's Way that day.
My fiance has a vehicle.
Where was your fiance during these 2 or 3 days?
He was doing his time
He was
for
doing what?
violation. He was doing time for violation of his probation.
Okay, but you had access to his vehicle.
Correct.
And you never, and it's your testimony again, I'm not trying to upset you, but you never left the apartment that day with several individuals, either to go shopping or to go get something.
Correct. No, I did not.
Okay.
I don't understand what that has to do with him holding me hostage and just think I can just walk right out the door and leave.
Did you try and leave?
No, yes, I did. And then he did another hit. We need to pull the pictures up again and see what happened and we try to leave.
Okay. Where was Marshall when you were trying to leave?
I wasn't trying to leave. I couldn't.
Where was
Every time I did it,
Marshall when you were trying to leave?
getting sat down the same way. We couldn't even look at each other. He said, don't even give each other eye contact.
Okay, and is this the time when he's got the gun?
We didn't know where the gun was. The gun was there, but we did not know where it was.
Okay, the police report says that the BB gun, and you didn't know it was a BB gun, but it was placed in the kitchen cabinet,
Correct?
all right?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
And so you never saw Jeff place it in the cabinet? At some point, Jeff didn't have the gun, correct?
I had no idea where the gun was. When I woke back up from my nap, 8, I don't know where the gun was. There was a lot of partying going on. I don't know what was what, where it was, or anything. I wasn't gonna ask to give him another reason to pull that out. You know, if he was drunk enough to forgot about it, so be it.
Okay, let me just ask you this. When you woke up from your nap in the bedroom, you said there's a lot of partying going on.
While I was asleep.
Okay, how many people were there?
Well, if I'm sleeping, I can't tell you.
Well, when you woke up, how many? I'm trying to get a time frame. You woke up, and then at some point, Jeff you went on the couch. What time frame is that? And who's there?
I don't know if it was roughly maybe 6, 7 o'clock.
In the morning?
In the evening.
In the evening. All right. And so you wake up and then you go lay down on the couch?
Yes, I did.
And is that when the sexual starts happening?
It didn't start till later. I slept for a while on the couch.
Okay.
No, it went right away.
And who were the people that were there, if you know, when you woke up?
It was Marshall, Lee, Jeff, and myself.
Okay. So Lee's there. Lee's there, and was Lee present during the sexual assault?
No, because he would have done something about it. No, he was not.
When did?
Again, sexual assault people. Tiffany, Marshall, Jeff. That's it. Lee had already left. Insane, my God. Make it clear.
And at some point, you told the police that you had given this gun to a neighbor to get rid of, correct?
When we found the neighbor found it. Yes, because he said, "Oh, I seen it," and he put it up further.
Okay.
Because we.
May I ask you a question? Just listen to my question. At some point, did you tell the police that you gave the gun to a neighbor to get rid of it?
Not to get rid of it, to give it to him, and it wasn't a gun. He said, "It's a BB gun. I'll take it." I said, "Get it out of the house."
Fair enough. At some point, you left the house.
Absolutely.
Okay. In the supplemental report, 3 days later, when the officers came back on the 24th, they found that same gun on your kitchen counter.
Because we got it back from the neighbor. They sure did, because we got it and put it there and called them to come get it.
You didn't try to sell it.
Why would we try to sell a BB gun? Why would I call the cops and say, "Yeah, we've got it, but you know, you want it for $20? Really?"
Just asking.
That's a damn question.
That was a silly question. Sorry about that. Did you ever tell Jeff, please bear with me, that any pornographic movies or anything of that type you were being taken advantage of by any of the individuals?
I'm gonna object, first of
Yeah,
all.
yeah, hold on.
Do not answer the question. I'm objecting on relevancy grounds, and what she said to Jeff is hearsay, if she said this crazy thing at all.
Okay, were any pornographic?
I'm gonna
movies-
sustain that objection. Go ahead, you can
I ask if
rephrase.
any pornographic movies were taken of you during that time you lived in Bolson's Way?
No,
All right. Did you ever see Marshall? Do you know what a Speedo is?
I do.
Did you ever see Marshall walking around in a blue Speedo?
Lord help me, no. No.
Okay.
The man has a robe on all the time. He's not.
And does Marshall drink?
Marshall drinks on occasion. He's not enough excess.
Does Marshall always has a raspy voice?
Yes. He has, and actually well, I'm not even bringing it up because it's probably not relevant, but it could be relevant once we get the results from the high school.
So do you know a name person?
Yes, I do.
And I'm probably going to butcher this last name, Mario.
Yeah.
And do you know a person? I assume this is a female name.
Yes.
Okay. Were any of those people at the apartment that night?
No.
When you moved into Bolson's Way, were you paying rent?
I actually paid his cable bill and his electric.
And how many bedrooms were in the apartment?
Again, there's one.
Just one. And while you stayed there, it's your testimony, you just slept on the couch.
Couch. That's correct.
Did Jeff ever spend the night, any night during those 3 or 4 days, did he spend any night overnight?
The night that he held me captive next to on the couch, that is when he spent the night unwelcome, if you will.
Okay. The officers, well, you know Jeff, did he believe he weighed, and again, this is speculative, but do you know if Jeff weighs 195 pounds? Just.
I don't know, and to be frank, I don't care.
And again, ma'am, I guess if you answered this, I apologize. Why did, I know you were embarrassed, but why would you wait approximately 18 hours to call the police? Jeff left, Jeff had gone, correct? At some point, he left?
He didn't leave on his own, he was told to.
Okay, but he left.
He left.
And did he leave like around dinner time or before dinner time?
It was roughly maybe around 1 o'clock.
Okay, fair enough.
Whatever, I honestly don't know.
Okay, but you didn't call the police, or you or Marshall didn't call the police until
So that
11
evening.
till that evening. 11 o'clock is when the police got the call.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, and again, I can understand that you explained your trauma very thoroughly. And because you explained your trauma so thoroughly, and I gotta believe you're so mad, why did you wait so long to call the police?
And I'm gonna object.
Sustained, asked and answered, and she's given a response each time.
Okay, and it's your testimony that not only did Jeff penetrate you with sexual intercourse, that he forced you to get involved.
That's correct.
And if you know, was he inebriated at this time? I mean, if you know him as a friend, could you tell he was inebriated at the time?
Wouldn't that be speculation?
No, it wouldn't be speculation. I mean, because you can tell, I mean, you're a friend.
I'm not, that is no friend of mine, so let's get that first.
All right. One last question. At any time in those days, did Jeff ever come and give you any money, presents, a toy for your dog? Did he give you any of that stuff?
A little ball for the dog.
And how about a t-shirt for you?
I don't recall a t-shirt, no, I don't recall a t-shirt.
Did he give you any money or buy food for everybody?
I believe he bought pizza that night. There were pizza, I do believe, yes. That's about the kind.
And you're saying he threatened your dog, correct? Or he actually threw your dog at you?
He did both, as you asked. Yes.
Bear with me 1 minute.
No problem.
Do you know if there's surveillance cameras in the apartment complex?
There is, and actually Marshall had one on the outside of his door.
So would this have all been caught on tape, Jeffrey's appearance, coming and going?
Yes. Through AT&T, I believe, I don't know if they recorded, you have to talk to Marshall about that, and he can't answer how long the steps, or if there's, I don't know. I know it will be sound anytime, so that.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
Just briefly, ma'am, to clarify, the police were called out on August 21st, 2022 at 10:59 p.m. The events that you described today occurred prior to that time, is that correct?
That is correct.
And reference Mr. Kilwell's last question about surveillance cameras in the complex. Describe this apartment for me on Ross's Way. Are there 2 entrances to get into the actual apartment itself?
There's when you come to the door, like through the main, come down the stairs, and get buzzed in. And where you get like a little patio outside where it's got a slab glass door, which opens this way and it'll open the opposite way. When it opens the opposite way, as you're looking out, if you're setting a living room, he has a camera to see if anything's coming up to the patio.
And do you think that might still be available from August if you know?
You can call Marshall and ask them. I can't call him because for obvious reasons, we got the number from the jail, you know. So I can't call him.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Anything else of this witness?
What did you get violated? I'm sorry. What are you in jail for?
I'm in jail for violation of probation.
And kind of how you violated your probation?
I'm gonna object, I don't know.
Now, hold on a second, because have you pled to a violation?
Yes, I was this morning, actually, it's all done. All said and done.
Then, well, it might not be relevant.
Thanks, Judge.
I'm going to allow it.
What did you plead to today?
I pled to, failure to go to a, what do they call it, housing, it's kind of housing you go to for, what do they call that?
Rehab?
No, it's not rehab, no, it's for a housing area that was for like 6 months.
Transitional.
Thank you, transitional housing. I didn't sign up for it, so I was violated on that. So I did the 10 days.
And you pled to it today?
I applied to it today, yep, did the 10 days as ordered.
What was the sentence?
Now, I said it was already clear, 10 days. I did it. So as of today was 10 days, went in front of Ms. Washington, or Judge Washington. Now I'm ordered to do 30 days in treatment, and I'm officially out of probation. She kindly waived all my fines, fees, and everything, bless her heart.
And is your plan to move back into Rose's Way?
And my plan is to move out of Washington County, and I will not say where, for good reasons.
Fair enough, thank you.
Hold on just one second. Ms. Reiser, anything else from this witness?
No.
All right, ma'am, you may step down. Thank you. And once she's out, I'm going to take a very 5-10 minute recess.
Judge, is there any way I can be in a room with my client? Is that at all
We can
possible?
put, if you want me to put you in a cell, that's fine. I mean, I don't know what you want. He's level 1. So he's level 1, that's not gonna happen. He's level 1, that's not gonna happen that way.
I was wondering if I could go into another courtroom, if it's possible to show them.
To do what?
So they could put it on the screen, I could just talk to them in a courtroom, empty courtroom. I'm sure he's got some.
So okay. So you wanna talk to him?
Judge, he's my client.
No, I know. I'm not saying, I'm trying to figure out, you wanna talk to him now?
I would just like to see what he's obviously saying something, if I could have, if it's possible.
No. We can make, you just have to tell me what you want to
I would
do.
like 5 minutes with my client.
Okay.
If it's
Do you
possible.
have a device?
I have a phone.
Okay, that's a device. So if you sign on to my Zoom, I think we did this the last time. You can go into the conference room out there. We will gladly take Mr. Bloom out of this once you're in and put the two of you together in a breakout room.
I don't have, I usually know I know it's 1-4, I know it's 142-022, but.
Do you want?
As many times as you're here, you ought to have it saved.
Pardon me?
Do you want me just to send it to your email so you can put that in? Or no?
Can you just give it to me and I'll do it? Because if I have to do anything other than that, you'll never hear from me.
I'll read it down. for you.
I'm almost as bad as
Make
my
sure to give
kids.
him the password because that's going to be a problem too. And so when he doesn't get in, then Ms. Reiser will help him.
I know.
That's not fair.
I'm just saying.
Come on.
All right. Court's going to stand in recess. Miss Wilding, when he comes in, you can put him and Mr. Bloom
Yeah,
together.
I'll wait for him to-
All right. Court's in recess.